So I saw this post come up, and even though this creator, I love most of the things that she does, this was one that irritated my soul because of all the ignorant comments that I saw on the post and the lack of investigation that people were willing to do before they started making their comments. Now, so they're talking about how this black couple who sold their 236 acres of land up in upstate New York in Rhinebeck, which I have no idea where that's at. I said upstate, but I don't know where Rhinebeck, New York is. And they sold it for $13.75 million to a company called 6 Cents, which is a luxury hospitality brand that was purchased by IHG a few years ago. And so it is their luxury brand under the IHG banner. And she said, we keep repeating the same thing, expecting a different results. But people started speaking without doing any research whatsoever. Because if they had done any research whatsoever, which only took me about 3 minutes to find the article on the couple who actually sold it, which is a gentleman who is from Liberia and a woman who, his wife, who is from the Ivory Coast and Fasho. And the thing about it is, this was land that they had bought in 2021 for $8.5 million. And then a year later, after receiving 3 different offers, they sold it for $13.75 million, clearing $5.25 million in profit in 1 year. That is doing business. And they already were doing business in other areas because they bought this land as a family retreat with a group of other people. They bought it as a family retreat, even though they already have a colonial home in Williamsburg, Virginia, that they were enjoying and traveling the world. They are serial entrepreneurs. They're getting ready, or probably by now have come out with a Made in Africa bathing suit line that is in Target. The wife is a philanthropist. She's a model, Georgie. And they also have other businesses in the fair trade market for products in Africa coming to different countries. So this is a couple who understands buy something at a lower price, sell it for a higher price. And that's exactly what they did. But some of the comments that people made goes counter to what they actually did. And one dude said exactly what they did, but meant it in a negative. This guy, as part of a negative commentary about them selling the property, because he was talking about they should have kept it. The previous comments were they should have kept this land for generational wealth. He's saying, put it like this: it's like having a '64 Corvette but not doing anything with it, and then turn around and see that somebody else sells it on a car show for triple the amount that they paid for it. That's what they did with this land. They bought it. They were just going to use it as a retreat. Somebody offered them $5.25 million a year later, and they took the money, which makes absolute sense. But then other people don't make it. Like these two people. The first one, the land is worth more. If you just paid $8.5 million for it the previous year, how is it worth more than the $13.75 million in 1 year? That's a huge gain. And the land is not valued based on who's buying it and what they're going to do with it. The land is valued based on whatever offer the people make. That's the value of the land. And whatever offer you take, that's the value of the land. Now, this person said that they would have taken that acreage, pooled investors together and built an African-American hospital and research center on that land and named it after whoever their grandma name is doomed, named it after whoever their grandma name is doomed for lacking knowledge. Okay, first of all, it's hospitality company. It's not a hospital. Hospitality. I see a few people in the comment thread of this kept saying hospital. One lady said, my hospital just made 600 million. Hospitality. Okay? Not hospital. But anyway, many people in the commentary assumed that these were just black Americans whose family has been here in America and they have owned this land for generations, and then now these people are selling it. That is not the case whatsoever. These are people from Africa who bought this land and then sold it a year later. It had been it had been for sale for 2 years prior to them buying it. So it only took 2-3 minutes of research to figure that part out. And then the other aspect of it is the fact that you assume that they can just go and get money to build a hospital with them not having any experience in building and running hospitals. Certain industries, in order to get involved, you have to create a board of people who are knowledgeable about that business. Like, you can't just go open a bank. See, some people making come and just go open a bank. Unless you have somebody who can get board approved, meaning they have so much experience in banking, you have to get that person on your board in order to open a bank. You just can't open a bank because you got money. You got to have the right people on your team to do that. And they may not. And here's another part. They may not be interested in running a hospital or a hospitality company, because their interest obviously is in clothing and textile and importing and exporting. That's where their interests are. They never even bought this house, this land, for them to build a hospitality place on it. They bought it for their own use. And then a lot of people try to get spiritual about it. Talking about some vote for the love of money. Love of money is the root of all evil, and so on and so forth, because they were claiming that these people just sold out and got lowballed for this land for the love of money and not passing it on for generations. And although people were like, look, you don't understand. A lot of people, once you buy the land or your next generation come up or the fourth generation, these kids don't know how to make money like that original generation, and oftentimes lose property because they can't pay the property tax on it, and then it goes into probate court and somebody comes and purchase that land for half the price that you could have sold that land for. So people are like to jump to their little conclusions without understanding the fullness of the dynamics of everything that's going on. But to put your little for the love of money and all this sort of thing in it, no, it wasn't for the love of money that they doing it. They just do business because they are a business couple. And the problem is most people think that they should have some type of say-so as to what other people do with their money. Just like one person was talking about how, oh, they're going to pay $5.4 million in federal taxes on that $13.75 million that they sold that property for, which demonstrated that the person was lacking the information to know that they had purchased the land for $8.5 million, sold it for the $13.75 million, meaning that they would only have to pay capital gains on the $5.25 million unless they take that capital gains money and roll it into another investment. Then they wouldn't have to pay any taxes on it or be able to defer those taxes depending upon what they roll it into. But the person just assumed that this was land that was completely paid off because it's been in their family forever, and they just bought it like a year prior to selling it. And so their tax liabilities can be hugely mitigated by putting it into other vehicles so that they don't have to pay taxes or defer those taxes for a later time frame. But most people, they don't do the research and they don't know these things, and then they want to throw their little, spiritual stuff in there, and it doesn't even, it has absolutely nothing about that. But the worst comment to me was this exchange right here. We lost. Shaking my head. We lost. What part of the $8.5 million initial investment to purchase the land were you involved in? I understand what you're trying to mean by it, by saying we as a people, because they had sold some land, and land is something that you got to hold on to forever because land is a great investment. It builds generational wealth, and I agree it does. But if you already got other lands, some lands you buy, and then if a great offer comes in, you sell. And then you can go buy other lands, or you're happy with the other lands that you do have. So you don't even know these people's portfolio. You don't know why they purchased this land, and we lost. We didn't do shit. We were not involved. They were involved. They purchased land that was previously owned by somebody else. I couldn't find who the owners that they purchased from. We didn't lose nothing. And then y'all went into, that's right, girl, that's right. And then tell me something, just like BET. How much stock did you own in BET? Where were you when they first started BET? Were you on the ground floor of them starting BET? Were you part of the board of BET? Did you invest money into BET? And I understand. It was great for us to have that when I was growing up. But at the end of the day, BET was a business. It wasn't a charity organization. It was a business. It wasn't a community-owned platform. It was a business. And when Viacom came in, he sold it. And sold it for, I think, $1 billion. So it was a great deal. He won. and which should have been an inspiration for you to get off your ass and go and start a business and build something for yourself. And hopefully one day you'll get that Billy as well. Y'all have a great day. And always remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is not